Hello everybody, welcome to Chess 101. Today's lesson is going to be how to checkmate with just the two rooks, just these two rooks. So what we're going to do is, we don't need all these pieces, we just really need the rooks and the opponent's king. So we're going to start by getting rid of everything. Okay, so here we have the opponent's king. I've gone ahead and placed your king over here in the corner just so it's out of the way, because you really don't need it. When you have two rooks, you don't need it. I placed the rooks here. And so the interesting thing about the rook is, because it moves on ranks and files, it blocks off these squares from the king. So it creates this little bitty area. The king can only operate in here because this rook is guarding all these squares. So this is the king's space. So what we're going to do is we're just going to basically push the king over here to the end of the board. Okay, we're just going to push it to the end of the board. And the way we do that is, so this rook's important, because this rook is blocking this king from going back this direction. So we just move this rook over here, check the king. So the king can't move to these three squares because of this rook. Can't move here because of that rook, so it moves over, right? And then we're going to move the other rook, check. And then we're going to move the other rook, check. We're just going to alternate, check. And finally, checkmate, okay? So that's checkmate. So kind of an important thing that a lot of people kind of mistake is that they move this rook and check, and then the king moves over here, and then they check over here, and then they move here, and then they check and they move here, and then they check again, and they're not really controlling the king, they're just delivering checks. So it's really important to block the king when you check it. So that's the whole point of this. Now, I'm going to show you here what somebody likely will do if you try to do this. So you'll check here, right? And then they're going to move this king, but they don't want to be over here on the edge of the board. They're going to try to stay in the center and near your pieces. So they're going to play right here. So the problem is, if you come over here and check, he can take it because these rooks don't protect each other, right? So you're probably like, gosh, I know I need to check him, so maybe I'll play this, but that doesn't really help. He just plays here, and now he's attacking this piece right here, right? So there's something called an in-between move where you don't deliver check, you don't do anything. Your problem is you can't deliver check right here because the king. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this piece and move it all the way over here to this side of the board. Because now you're going to come, you need to deliver check on this file right here, on the E file. So he either is going to come this way to try to get this piece, or he's going to come after this piece. So let's say he comes after this piece. Well, just another in-between move. You just move the rook down to here. Now it's important to not block your other rook, because now you can't do that alternating rook thing if they're blocking. So you have to move them one square away. And then the king maybe will come after the rooks, and then you check, and then check, and then here, same thing. The king is coming after the rook, right? So you take the rook, move it all the way to the other end. And then if the king decides to go after this rook, you just check over here, okay? If the king comes this way, you can still check. That's still check. He can't go here, can't go here. He can come here to try to take the rook. But you don't have to check him. You just drive your rook all the way over here to block off this row. And then wherever the king moves doesn't matter. The final move is checkmate. So a couple keys about this position, okay? You don't always have to check on every move. Okay, that's the first rule. Is don't have to check. Sometimes you're just maneuvering your rook away from the other king, okay? A big mistake I see with beginners is they always want to check, 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 check. And sometimes you can't. You have to not check. You have to do some other move, what's called an in-between move, okay? The other thing is, don't ever get your rooks like this on the same row, because then it's really, you can't really do anything. Check, check, right? Check. You can't alternate. You have to have them separate like this, okay? So if he goes here, you check. If he goes here, you just in-between move. So that's the key thing, is just never let the king, you just want to keep limiting where the king can go. So that's it, the easiest one. Some people call this rolling rooks. You'll probably Google it and see it's called the rolling rooks, where you just roll the rooks, okay? And then of course, that's checkmate as well. Practice this with your board. It's pretty easy. I've seen people not, be able to figure this out, kids usually, but it's an easy way to checkmate with two rooks. We're going to do a more advanced one next. We're going to do it just with the king and the rook. It's a lot harder, but it's I'll be able, once I show you, it'll be pretty easy. Anyway, that's the video for today, and thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe.